world of music production, there's tons of shiny toys that can tell you that you're going to be able to do this with it or eliminate that, and they cost an arm and an anus. And we work hard for our money, and I know you do. And as musicians, we don't have a lot of it, but we do work hard for it. So it's hard to tell what out there is worth spending money on when it comes to music production tools. I'm going to give you 3 tools today that are worth the investment and worth the money. Now, disclaimer, these are not necessarily cheap or free. If you guys want a free tool video where I give you my recommendations for the best free tools and plugins out there, I'll be happy to do that video, so let me know in the comments. Neural DSP, any of the Archetype series. The things that Neural DSP is doing, in my personal opinion, is groundbreaking, to say the least. I would recommend pretty much all of the lines that Neural DSP puts out, all of their Archetype series. I only own 2 because they really serve the main purpose that I needed for the music that I write. I have Archetype Nolly, which I think is the best end-all be-all amp sim. I may never need to buy another amp sim as long as I live type of amp sim. And I also have Archetype Corey Wong for when I'm wanting to write more pop related stuff, which is kind of in that vein. Both of them are outstanding. Both of them have incredible GUIs. The interfaces are very straightforward and very clean. I really like the graphics of the amps themselves, and it's all very intuitive. It's not very confusing. It's not all, bumbled up. It's not all jumbled. It's very clean, precise, and professional looking tools, and that's across the board, any of their Archetype series. Now, I will say there are some specific genres and specific utilizations for some of the Archetype series, like the Archetype Tim Henson, for example, or the Archetype Gojira, or the Archetype Tosin. These are all kind of specifically made, and they have a little bit more of a niche use. But the Archetype Fortin, the Archetype Nolly, those ones are going to be pretty much useful across the board for your high gain needs. I couldn't recommend Neural DSP enough. And again, they're a little bit more pricey, but they do often run sales different times of the year. And when they do, I highly recommend you snatch them up. Get Good Drums. I love anything that Nolly Get Good does. If you don't know who he is, look him up. I'm not going to explain who he is, because he is very professional and he knows his stuff, and everything he does pretty much is gold. Get Good Drum line series, like the Get Good Drum libraries, are nothing short of outstanding and excellent. I have Modern and Massive, and that suits all the needs I need it for, and it really can transcend across different genres of music depending on the way I process them. Metal, or pop rock, or pop, or country, or whatever the case may be, I can use the Modern and Massive library and pretty much get any result that I need from it. I cannot overstate how good of quality the samples are, and with the right processing, it's almost indistinguishable between real human playing and samples. They have more than just the Modern and Massive libraries. They have the Matt Halpern series, which, if you know anything about Periphery and where Nolly gets from, again, do your research on it. They have those series, which are a lot more tailored to like rock and metal, and they have a actual metal series, and they have like funk drums, and they have other different libraries that are very specifically tailored. And what's cool about the One Kit Wonder series is those are already pre-processed. So they're out of the box. There are really not much you need to do to them. You can still process them, obviously, and still route them individually, but you don't really need to do that. They're pretty much mix ready coming out of the box, which I think is an excellent investment for how much that those cost. And I will say that across the board for most of the libraries that I've heard, other than Modern and Massive, out of the box, they're amazing. They sound fantastic. So adding your own processing and turning them whatever you need them to be is not difficult. So I couldn't recommend the Get Good products any more than I scream it from the rooftops. I also have their compressor, the Smash and Grab compressor, which works specifically for the drum libraries, but also can function in other avenues, and it's an amazing compressor. So I just would say all the Get Good products are fantastic, and they even have amp libraries and like amp sims and stuff. I haven't personally used them or really listened to much of them, so I can't really speak to them, but I'm sure they're quality. FabFilter Pro EQ. Why am I just recommending an EQ when there's hundreds, if not thousands of free EQs that do all the same thing? It's all kind of the same thing. I'm simply recommending FabFilter because, number one, everything they put out, again, is super high quality. And the EQ is the only EQ that I grab. It's the only thing I use now, unless I'm going for like an analog EQ, like a Neve type sounding EQ, or the SSL channels, or anything that I'm grabbing in that vein, I will still use. But if I just need general equalization that I'm working on, it's FabFilter. The interface is so clean and it's so easy to use, but also it does have the dynamic EQ processing. It has a bunch of different curves that you can utilize, which it actually has a square curve, which is something I really have never really seen before until I got my hands on FabFilter. But it's super easy to do more surgical cuts if need be, or full bands type situation. I mean, it's really universal and it sounds good. I would highly recommend it. It's a little bit pricier for an EQ. Are there free alternatives that work just as well? Sure. But are those free alternatives, do they have the dynamic processing? No. And you can use as many bands as you want? No. It really comes down to what do you need it for, how serious you are about this, and how much you're going to be working on projects and what you're doing. It's a worthwhile investment if you are even remotely serious about you writing music or doing your own production or getting into mixing, and you want to get your foot in the door. There's so many things I could give, but those were the three that I kind of narrowed down to. Like, if I had only three that I could pick from starting out that weren't stock plugins, those are my go-to. More of these types of videos, if you're interested in them, let me know in the comments and give me a shout. If you like the video, guys, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button to join me on the march to 1K subscribers, and I'll catch you in the next one.